we are supposed to jump and we had done writing, that is right? Yeah. The second one is right. And how many chapters which are there in the textbook when you prepare an exam? How many chapters you have in the textbook? Okay, so the funding that is under the story of one. Lost child in the front, the adventures of the father. You are rich in the story of home, you have more skills. That's if I am a storyteller, the kingdom of food, in the kingdom of food, and you also comes here the little girl and the very form. So we have not done little girl also. So we read the Sita is the kingdom of food, right? You don't have any exams in the take out the following also. Take out the volumes also which has in the kingdom of food. Okay, let's start. In the kingdom of fools, take out the volume as well as the textbook. You have the textbook video. There are two volumes, I think, the text. Start reading. Who is the writer of this story? K.K. Raman is a very famous Indian writer in English. I think it's a South Indian. Read. The people who foods, both the king and the minister, who for 3 years, they didn't want to learn things like other kids. So they decided to live night into day into night. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night till their meals and run their business. Only after that, and go to bed as soon as the sun came up. Anyone who disobeyed would be punished with death. The people did as they were told of them. The king and the minister were delighted at the success of their work. One day a guru and his disciple arrived in the city. One day disciple arrived. Listen carefully. I will ask you questions. Okay. Arrived in the city. It was a beautiful city. It had both daylight, but there was no one about. Everyone was asleep. Not mouse stealing. Staring. That is one more. Not a mouse stealing. Even the candle had been caught in sleep by this. The two strangers were amazed by what they saw around them and wandered around town in every till evening. Then suddenly the whole town woke up and went about its daily business. The two men were hungry, not now, now that the shops were open. They went to buy some groceries. To their astonishment, they found that everything cost the same a single bedroom. Single whether it is water for measure of the or a bunch of bananas. It cost the guru and his disciples would recognize it. They have never thought of anything like that. Like this. They could buy all the food for whatever for when they had put and eaten, the guru realized that was a kingdom of kings. And it wouldn't be a good idea for them to pay them. Okay, stop here. First question. Why was it called the kingdom of kings? Because the kings and ministers were yes. And what did they decide to do? They decided to run the kingdom differently. They wanted to run the kingdom differently. So what did the king and the ministers do? They wanted to run the kingdom differently. Usually what happens in usually in all the towns and the cities, We work during the daytime and sleep during the night, right? But here in the kingdom of fools, the king and his minister decided that we will sleep in the daytime and work in the night. Right? What else did he decide? They decided that everything will cost just a rupee. Everything will cost just a rupee. Everything. Whatever you buy, it will cost a rupee. Even the most expensive things will cost the same as the cheap things. Right? Okay? Now, one day what happened? Who came to their land? Guru and his disciple. Right. A guru and his disciples came to that. Okay? They found that everything was the same price. They were so astonished when they came. They came in the morning time, but nobody was awake. Everybody was sleeping and not a mouse was awake. Right? The animals were also sleeping. And the shops were all closed. Then at night, it all opened and they went and by across the hills. And when they went, they found everything was delighted. They were astonished to the beginning, they were delighted later. But they understood one thing, that since it is the kingdom of fools, it is not a great idea to stay here for long. Because why do you think so? Because they can decide anything. They can decide anything and do anything. Yes, they can decide anything, they can do anything. Actually, the fact is, we cannot go against nature, or whatever is natural, we should do that. Right? The moment we try to go against it, we are fools. Right? Okay, and we cannot be successful. You know, at night, why is it why it is the fact that we should sleep at night and we fall asleep and going to the it gets dark, it helps in the sleep. I have what I know is I forgot the name of the hormone secretion that happens during this time at the dark between 10 or 9 and 1 a.m. So between 9 p.m. and 1 p.m. there is something that is secreted in the body which helps the sleep. And if you sleep during that time, the body is more productive. So you should sleep during that time. So that is why it's late night, those who sleep late night, it is not from healthy. Sleeping late, getting up late is not healthy. You know, the body clock that is there inside us, you are ignoring that. You're going against it. Body is also a machine, right? Our body is the best machine in the world. It has a grinder inside, it has everything, it has a camera inside, it has everything. It has pump inside. So all the machines which are made are all because what is there in our body. Okay, so we need to take care of it, we cannot go against it. Continue. This is no place for us. Let's go. He said to his disciple. But the disciple didn't want him to leave the place. They didn't want. They didn't want to leave the place. Everything was cheap career. All they wanted was good cheap food in Jerusalem. They are all fools. They want to last very long, and you can't tell what they will do, or what they will do to you next. But the disciple couldn't listen to the Guru's wisdom. He wanted to stay, and Guru finally gave up and said, "Do what you want. I am going." And left. The disciples said, on it is filled every day, bananas and wheat and rice and wheat. The grew and like a street side scared. Sacred wood or scared? Sacred wood. Where is it? About the parent. So one bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall and slipped in. And as he was carrying out his loot, the wall of the old house collapsed on his head and killed him on the spot. His brother ran to the king and complained, "Your Highness, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade, a wall fell on him and killed him." Acha, sorry, you read before this, right? But the disciple really listened to the Guru's wisdom, he wanted to stay. Gave up, do what you want, I am going and left. The disciple stayed on, ate his steak every day, bananas and ghee and rice, eat it in fat like the street side sacred bull. So it became as fat as a bull. Okay, now you read.
One bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall and sneaked in. And as he was carrying out his
Yeah.
the wall of the old house collapsed on his head and killed him on the spot. His brother ran to the king and complained, Your Highness, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade, a wall fell on him and killed him. This merchant is to blame. He should have built a good, strong wall. You must punish the wrong. What is this?
Wrong.
Wrong. This
Wrong. Wrongdoer, someone who does wrong.
wrongdoer and compensate the family for this injustice. The king said, Justice will be done. Don't worry. And at once summoned the owner of the house. When the merchant
Now tell me one thing. The thief had gone. While he was coming out, what happened? The wall fell on him. But see, who is complaining? Who is actually complaining? The over here, the thief is complaining that the merchant did not make the book properly. So he complained against him, right? Okay? So he lodged a complaint against him. But you tell me, who should get the punishment? The merchant or the thief? The thief, but over here, since it is a toxic the word, we forget a toxic word, it's upside down the two more things. Therefore, something else is happening. Right? So when let us see what happens. Now here, you see the audacity, the thief is complaining because the wall is not moved properly. Continue.
when the merchant arrived, the king questioned him, What's your name? Such and such, your highness. Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house? Yes, my lord. He broke in and the wall was weak. It fell on him. The accused pleads guilty. Your wall killed this man's brother. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you. Lord, said the helpless merchant. I didn't put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He didn't build it right. You should punish him. Who is that? My lord, this wall was built in my father's time. I know the man. He is an old man now. He lives nearby. The king sent out messengers to bring in the bricklayer who had built the wall. They brought him, tied hand and foot. You, you there. Did you build this man's wall in his father's time? Yes, my lord, I did. What kind of wall is this that you built? It has fallen on a poor man and killed him. You have murdered him. We have to punish you by death. Before the king could order the execution, the poor bricklayer pleaded, Please listen to me before you give your orders. It's true, I built this wall and it was no good. But that was because my mind was not on it. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her anklets jingling, and I couldn't keep my eyes or my mind on the wall. I was doing. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. You're right. The case depends. We must look into it. It is not easy to judge such complicated cases. Let's get that dancer wherever she is. The dancing girl now, an old woman, came trembling to the court. Did you walk up and down the street many years ago while this poor man was building a wall? Did you see him? Yes, my lord, I remember it very well. So you did walk up and down with your anklets jingling. You were young and you distracted him. So he built a bad wall. It has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You have killed an innocent man. You will have to be funny.
Underline, you feel an innocent man. Was he innocent? No. No. So this is ironic. You underline and write down irony used here. I capital RON.
Now what's your friend?
Irony used here. This man was innocent used just somewhere. That is an irony used. Why is it an irony? What's the meaning for irony? Can you tell me? What is the meaning of the word irony? Irony means difference between appearance and reality. Please write this down. It is the difference between appearance and reality. What does it mean? He, it may appear to be something, but in reality, it is totally different. So he appears to be an innocent man, but in reality, he is not an innocent man because he was there for theft, right? He is actually a criminal. Here, the thing is telling he was an innocent man. So obviously, there is irony intended. Now, irony is a very important poetic device, or we can say literary device, which is used. And in class 10, it will be of great help because you will find a lot of chapters where irony has been used. Okay, irony is very, very important. Okay, yeah, continue.
You will have to be punished. She thought for a minute and said, My lord, wait, I know now why I was walking up and down that street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelries for me. He was a lazy scoundrel.
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 Scoundrel means someone who is very bad. Okay, naughty, scoundrel.
He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all day. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times. That was when this bricklayer saw me. It's not my fault, my lord. It's the demand. Then, what is this?
Now remember the sequence. I'll ask you the sequence. Damned, gold, damned goldsmith's fault. It is definitely the goldsmith's fault. Okay, continue.
Poor thing. She is absolutely right, thought the king. Weighing the evidence, we have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith, wherever he is hiding, at once. The king's bailiffs searched for the goldsmith who was hiding in a corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. My lord, he said, I am a poor goldsmith. It's true. I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I couldn't finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's order. They had a wedding coming and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient rich men are. Who is this rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry? Made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which made a mess of his wall, which has now fallen on an innocent man and killed him. Can you name him? The goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house, whose wall had fallen. Now justice had come full circle, thought the king back to the merchant. When he was rudely summoned back to the court, he arrived crying, It wasn't me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He's dead. I am innocent. But the king consulted his minister and ruled decisive, decisively.
Decisively. Decisively means write down taking a decision. Firm decision. Taking a firm decision. Taking a firm decision.
It's true, your father is the true murderer. He's dead, but somebody must be punished in his place. You have inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins. I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die. And he ordered a new stake to be made ready for the execution. As the servants sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminal, it occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow to him too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He appealed to
Okay, we will come to this point later. Now, one by one, tell me, what is the sequence? Okay, so what is the story? Tell me, what is the story?
First, the king and the minister rules
Hmm.
ordered the night should be treated as day
Correct.
and in the day they should sleep.
Mhm.
And everything was done one release.
Okay, we will go to the past. I mean, then what happened? After that, one day, what happened?
One day,
One day, a thief, yes.
he went to a house. But while he was looking into the house, he was very honest, and he died. He was killed. He died because of the wall around him.
The falling of the wall, or the wall crumbling on him, okay? Then
And King ordered, King said that he is the killer, the owner of the house is the killer, and then
so the merchant, the rich merchant, right? The rich merchant was accused. Fine. Let us see who all have been accused. First is the rich merchant. What did the rich merchant tell him? The story.
rich merchant telling me that the house was made at his father's
Correct.
and
So this is not his mistake. It was made at the time of his father's, I mean, at the time of his father, and by whom?
by a brick.
A brickmaker who made the brick so weak that it fell on him. So it's not his fault, right? So the main accused becomes the brickmaker, who is old now. Correct. Another bricklayer. Bricklayer. Okay. So he did not lay the bricks properly. Okay, he did not lay the bricks properly. Fine. Sit down. Next. After the bricklayer, so they go to the bricklayer. Then what happens? What does the bricklayer tell him? So the main culprit, the main accused should be the bricklayer. Right? That man. But then what happened? What did it say?
The bricklayer moves the girl actually going up and down.
Yes. What distracted him? What distracted him?
The girl
The girl and her anklet jingling. Right? The jingling, the sound words. What are these sound words called as? Underline the sound word jingling and write down these sound words are known as onomatopoeia. Be careful with this spelling. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia spelling E. Then you see this part. All vowels are here. It is, you pronounce it as poia and write down the spelling correctly, but the pronunciation is pia. But if you see Poeia, almost all vowels are there except which vowel? U. And except U, all vowels are there. Right? It starts with O, ends with A, and in between E and L. Okay, write down. Onomatopoeia. The word jingling is onomatopoeia. Okay, these are important questions come from here. These are all sound words. You will find the same jingle word when you go to class 10. There is one chapter called the Bakers of Goa. Okay, it is a trilogy kind of. There are three stories to it. The Bakers of Goa. There it is mentioned that the bakers, they used to walk down the street selling their bread with the jingle sound of the bamboos. Okay, so jingle, there were so many onomatopoeic words like that were used and it comes in the board exams. Okay, so from now on, you should know what is onomatopoeia. It is a sound word. What is it? Sound word. Any word which gets the sound of something, like the banging on the desk, right? The thud on the floor. He fell with a thud. If you make sound with your feet, that is known as thud. Okay. So these words are called onomatopoeic words. Clear? So you said that she was distracting him. So now who is the main culprit? The girl, the dancing girl. Now what does the dancing girl say now? So the dancing girl is now old. Now they go to her. What does she say now? It's not her fault. What she say? It is the fault of the goldsmith. Why is it the fault of the goldsmith?
I was not giving jewelry on time.
On time. He was procrastinating. That means he was delaying. He was not giving him the jewelry of time. That was the reason why she was going up and down so many times to get the jewelry. So now who turns to be the main accused? The goldsmith. Yeah. Now what do the goldsmith? Now they go to the goldsmith. You are the person, the main culprit. Because of you, there was a murder. I mean, there was a person who died, an innocent man dies. So since it's in the kingdom of fools, there was someone who is involved in thievery becomes innocent. Right? It is an opposite world, right? It's a topsy-turvy world. Correct? Now what story does the goldsmith say? Now you tell. What story does the goldsmith say?
The goldsmith said that one rich merchant had came to him and given his jewelry to him. Then the merchant couldn't wait because there was a function in his home. So that's why he couldn't do the jewelries of the girls.
Yes, because there was an order from the rich merchant which had to be completed first. Therefore, he was more into completing his work than the work of the dancing girl. So now who is to be blamed? The rich merchant himself. And this rich merchant is the same person. So it comes to a full circle. I should have made a circle actually. So it comes to a full circle. Now again it comes back to the rich merchant. Now what does he say? Says he pleads. How does it plead? Plead means you are trying to present yourself innocent. Right? So now he tries to plead himself, saying that it was done in my father's time. How am I supposed to take his crime? I have not done anything. It was made in my father's time. Right? Now let us see. Now they say that, but they did not. He consults with the ministers. It is a kingdom of fools, as we know. Topsy-turvy world. So he discusses with his ministers, and ministers say no, he has to be hanged. I mean, not hanged. What was it? What was the punishment?
Stake.
Stake. Huh? Stake. Stake means?
Executed on.
They executed. Okay. He will be executed. Right. But he says that now let us see. You read from there. Who was reading? You were reading. You read a lot. Now you read.
He appealed to the king's common sense. The king too worried about it.
No, just read slightly before that. I only read it, but still read it once again.
As the servant sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminal,
Okay, stay.
it occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He appealed to the king's common sense. The king too worried about it. What shall we do? He said. When suddenly it struck him that all they need to do was to find a man fat enough to fit the stake. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit the stake, and their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas and rice and wheat and ghee. What have I done wrong? I am innocent. I am a sannyasi. He cried. That may be true, but it's the royal decree that we should find a man
The
fat.
royal decree means by the rule of the royal rule. It's the legal rule of the king. Royal decree means the rule of the king. Royal is related to king. Decree means rule or law.
Find a man fat enough to fit the stake, they said, and carried him to the place of execution. He remembered this wise Guru's words. This is a city of fools. You don't know what they will do next. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his Guru in his heart, asking him to hear his prayer wherever he was. The Guru saw everything in a vision. He had magic powers. He could see far and he could see the future as he could see the present and the past. He arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into such a scrape through love of food. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. Then he went to the king and addressed him, O wisest of kings, who is greater, the Guru or the disciple? Of course, the Guru, no doubt about it. Why do you ask? Then put me to the stake first. Put my disciple to death after me. When the disciple heard this, he understood and began to clamor, me first. You brought me here first. Put me to death first, not him. The Guru and the disciple now got into a fight about who should go first. The king was puzzled by this behavior. He asked the Guru, why don't you want to die? We chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake. You shouldn't ask me such questions. Put me to death first, replied the Guru. Why? There's some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand. Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you? Asked the Guru. The king gave him his solemn words. The Guru took him aside, out of the servant's earshot, and whispered to him, do you know why we want to die right now? The two of us, we have been all over the world, but we have never found a city like this or a king like you. That stake is the stake of the God of justice. It's new, it has never had it has never had a criminal on it. Whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country. And whoever goes first next will be future minister of this country. We are sick of our aesthetic life. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves as a king and minister for a while.
Stop here. Now the stand up. Now what happens? So we saw till here. Now the rich merchant was taken, and but he was not fitting in that state, right? Then what to do? What was the solution?
So the king said to
We have to be a very fat man.
the minister to find the gold kingdom.
Which means anybody can be punished, can be executed. So that is why it is a kingdom of fools. They have no brains. They do not work on common sense. Okay. What happened? Yes.
And then they found the disciple and took the disciple
Because we know that the disciple by eating so much because everything was available for just a rupee. So he ate too much. Therefore, he became very fat. He became the fattest. So he only was the one who fit in there. So because he was able to fit in there, therefore
he was going to be executed. But the Guru saw his vision and came to save his disciple. First he shouted his disciple, and afterwards, the Guru whispered in the ears of the disciple.
And then he goes and tells them that,
And
and gets it
they,
down. Next, what happens?
Let's start fight on that. I will-
Now, who wants to be executed first? Why do they do that? Just to distract the king, right? They are very clever, so they're just to distract the king, they do that. So, and the Guru further clarifies, saying that, do you know why we are fighting for it? Because whoever goes first will be the
next in for the next time.
king for the next life. And then what did he say?
Whoever goes second will be.
Will be the
And the one who would go second will be the minister in the next life. So the first one gets to be the king and the second one gets to be the minister. So these words, as you know, the king was very greedy for power, but without brains. Let's see what he does. Okay. Now who is going to read? You read. You have already read, all three of you read? You have got it.
When the disciple heard this, he understood and began to clamor me first. You brought me here first. Put me to the death first, not him. The Guru and disciple
It's
now,
okay, no problem. Let him read, huh?
now got into a fight about who should go first. The king was puzzled by his behavior. He asked the Guru, why do you want to die? We chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake. You shouldn't ask me such questions. Put me to the death first, replied the Guru.
We have already read that. Yeah, that's okay.
Why there is some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand. Will you promise to put me to the death if I tell you? Ask the Guru. The king gave him his solemn word.
Solemn words. Serious. Solemn means serious. Write down solemn means serious.
Solemn word. The Guru took him aside out of the servants' earshot and whispered to him, do you know why we want to die right now? The two of us. We've been all over the world, but we will never found a city.
What happened? Which
No, no,
which one?
city like this or a king like you. That state is the state of gold and God and of justice. It's new. It has never had a criminal on it.
So it is just God and it is of God and justice. So whoever comes first will become the next king. In the next slide.
Whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country, and whoever goes next will be the future minister of this country. We are sick of our as aesthetic life. It would
Now, ascetic life means underline it. What is the meaning of ascetic life?
moving the
No. Life of the saints. SAINT. Life of saints. What is life of saints? How do they shape their lives?
they live a simple life.
Yeah, they live a very simple life. Right? They forego all the worldly pleasures, material benefits. Right? So they are saying that we are tired of being an ascetic because if they go through and decipher in their Shikshya, right? Guru Shikshya. So the king, the Guru and his disciple, they are tired of being saints and leading saintly life, leading ascetic life. So now next in the next life, they want to become the king and his minister. Okay.
It would be nice to enjoy ourselves as king and minister for a while. Now keep your words, my lord, and put us to death. We first remember the king was now thrown into the thought. He didn't want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next round of life. He needed time So he ordered execution postponed to the next day. And
Just
Tom-
imagine, so the king is totally confused now, who to execute first. And so they take some time.
Dog is secret with his minister. It's not right for us to stay. It's not right. It's not right for us to give over the kingdom to others in the next life.
Yes. And so they don't want to give it to these two. Because these clever things, they are very wise, right? They know how to deal with people. They know very well that he was greedy. He would definitely not like to give away his kingdom in the next life. He again would like to become the king in the next life. Therefore, so this is the plan that the guru makes. And that has actually worked. Right? So now the king, along with his ministers who are equally foolish, they all decide that we cannot give in the next life to these two people, it should be with us. So what do they decide?
They decided to postpone.
Yes, okay, continue. Postpone, so that is over, then what decision will they take? Carry on.
Let's go on the stake ourselves and we will be born as king and minister again. Holy men, don't tell lies, he said, and minister agreed. So he told the executioners, we will send the criminals tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to death first. Then do the same with the second man. Those are my orders. Don't make any mistake. That night, the king and his minister went quickly to the prison, released the Guru and disciplined his disciple, distinguished themselves as
This guy is very important. Yes,
themselves as equal and as arranged beforehand. The loyal servants were taken to the stake and promptly executed. When the bodies were taken down to be thrown to crows and vultures, the people panicked. They saw before them the dead bodies of the king and the minister.
So they were disguised as?
The disciple and the king.
Yes, because they were the ones who were supposed to be executed, so in the prison secretly, they did not want others to know about it, because if they would come to know, then probably they would also like to give their rights to become the king in the next life. So to avoid that, they did not want to disclose it to anybody, so he and his minister, they went and and they were executed. Whereas the Guru and his disciple were released. And they disguise themselves as the Guru and minister. I'm sorry, Guru and the disciple. Okay, let's see.
The city was in confusion. All night they mourned and
Mourned means underline, what's the meaning of mourned? MOURNED, right? Yes. They were sad. They were expressing sadness, grief. So mourning, that means crying, expressing sadness.
mourned and discussed the future of the kingdom. Some people suddenly thought of the Guru and the disciple and caught up with them as they were preparing to leave town unnoticed. We people need a king and a minister, said someone. Others agreed. They begged the Guru and the disciple to be their king and their minister. It didn't take many arguments to persuade the disciple, but it took longer to persuade the Guru. They finally agreed to rule the kingdom of the foolish king and the silly minister on the condition that they could change all the old laws. From then on, night would again be night and day would again be day. And you could get nothing for a
Not what's the word? That group.
foreign country.
What is the last sentence? And you will get. According to the figure, everything was available. Again, for that group. You won't get nothing for that group. So you will not be able to get everything will be priced accordingly. You know, as a normal kingdom, normal life. So finally, the king and his minister got executed. They were the two most foolish people, and in the most foolish way, they themselves dug their graves, and they finally got executed. You see, from where to where it reached, from the death of the thief to the death of the king and his minister, right? And now, actually, they both become the king and the minister, right? The guru and his disciple become the king and the minister of the place, and all the laws were revoked. We use the word revoke, REVOAT. Revoke means turning it back. I mean, you repeal it, right? So you have ordered something and you revoke it means you withdraw it and you come back to the original, the old laws. That is the meaning of revoking. You lift it, lifting that law and placing the same law, the old law that was there today, and this night. Now take out your volumes. Question number 1. You see the solved ones. What is question number 1? Shreya, read question number 1. The solved one. Read question number 1. First, we will read out the solved one, only the questions. Then you will write the answers from the back. First question. Yeah, page number 90. Which two things? Means, see, you know the meanings, right? I told you the meanings. The first question, which two things amaze the Guru and his disciple when they arrive in the kingdom of fruits? What are the two things? What are the two things which he didn't tell
The
you?
day was red and the night was day. And the music was
Available at the same cost, right? And you need to mention this W. Okay. Now the next question, read out the next question.
Why does the disciple decide to save the kingdom of fools? Was it a good idea?
What do you think? What's a good idea? Say that. What is written over there?
The disciple thought that the life will be easy.
Why? Because everything was available at the same cost and people have so much to eat at the same price. Therefore, he decides to stay back there. But what's a good idea? Why? Because he fell into trouble because he was fat, and therefore, according to what came up, that since he was the one who was fitting in the state, therefore, he was supposed to be executed. Had not the Guru helped him, he would have been there. Okay. The next question.
Name all the people who tried in the king's court and gave the reason for the
This we have already discussed, this you know, right? What is the next question?
who is the real culprit according to the king? Why does he escape
escape punishment.
Who is the real culprit according to the
The merchant.
The merchant. It comes back to the full circle, right? And what's the next part of the question?
Why does he escape punishment?
Why does he escape punishment?
Because he was then and he was able to protect the state.
So he was trained and he was not fitting in the state. Therefore, how will the execution happen? Therefore, he escaped. Okay, next question.
Why are the Guru's word? What are the Guru's word of wisdom? When does the disciple remember them?
Tell me, what are the words of wisdom by the Guru?
And Guru said that this is the kingdom of what we can do to be done.
Yes. What is written in the answer?
And the disciple remembers it when he was going to be executed.
Yes. So what was the wise words of the Guru? that since it is a kingdom of fools, therefore anything can happen. So it is very unpredictable place, right? So it is better to leave such a place. And when did he remember this advice? When he was about to be executed, when he was placed at the stake. Okay. Next question.
How does the Guru
Now
manage?
you read the next question.
How does the Guru manage to save his
Slowly, slowly. How does the Guru,
How does the Guru manage to save his time?
how does the Guru manage to say this is happened? Read the answer also.
The Guru tries to
Now, you know, in your test series, sorry, it's interrupting you. In the test series that you have to appear for the exams, you will be getting from these questions. Okay, so you have to go through the volumes thoroughly. From here only the questions come for the test series. Okay, so read the answer.
The Guru tries to complete the king by expressing his desire to execute it first.
Always.
Then to further confuse the king, he tells the story that whoever is executed.
So what did he say in order to confuse first? In order to confuse the king, what does he say first?
He said that he want to be executed first.
So what did he say first? One minute. Shreya, what did he say first? In order to confuse the king.
Said that the next, the what is, will die and be. The king.
So that comes later, right? What does he say first? This is what is written. First, how does he try to confuse him first?
He
Desire.
Yes. So he wanted to confuse the king by saying that he was the one who desired to be the first to be executed. And then further he confuses it by saying, read, continue.
Executed first will become the king in the next.
Then he says that in order to confuse it further, the whoever is executed first to become the king in the next life, and someone who would be executed second will become the minister. So purposefully he names the king and the minister only, right? Because he knows very well both of them are greedy and foolish at the same time, right? Okay, next question. Next, what does he do next?
The king believes that when later on offers himself to be executed first so that he will be king in the next one.
Yes, right.
The Guru was successful in saving his disciples' life.
Right. So these three stages, you have to write the answer. So there are two confusions, and then finally the king decides to be executed to remain the king in the next life also. Okay. Over all the questions. Now turn the pages. We will write down question answers. Do we have time? We do have time.
7 minutes.
That is enough. Okay. Come to page number assignment questions. Page number 95. Question number 8. Page number 95, question number 8. Quickly in 5 minutes. This also you have not brought. Volume? You have not brought. Carry both, because it's mixed up. Oh, very good. What is the first question? The accused pleads guilty. Your wall kills this man's brother. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you. Who said these words and to whom? A king, the kings or kings, there will be one kingdom. The next word is said, not said. SAID. Okay, said is the past tense of said. It happens in past tense, right? See who said these words. So the king said these words to the merchant, correct, to the rich merchant, the big merchant. Next is Lucas referred to this confused. The merchant is referred to as the accused. The merchant is referred to as the accused. Okay. Merchant accused here. So the merchant was accused. Also, the merchant was referred to as the accused. In the use referred accused in the merchant. That has telling you. So, now, first short question. Over. Okay, tell the answer.
The portion was okay.
The king, I want to see the whole answer.
The king said he want to the rich person.
The king said these words. Okay, to the rich merchant. Full stop. The next sentence, the next question.
Rich merchant is referred as.
The rich merchant is referred to. Have you written referred to? Right? The rich merchant is referred to as the accused. Okay. What is the next question?
Find the word from the abstract.
Yeah, what is that word?
Guilty.
Guilty. Okay, then now the first question, short question. I think we will have to write the first short question. What is the question?
Why was it not there?
Where was the triangle? It's a very, very short question. Why was the triangle? Right, why was the triangle?
To find the murderer.
No, not to find the murderer, the trial was held to punish or execute the first the murderer who killed the thief was trying to
Okay.
who broke into the house of the merchant. And the wall fell on him, which led to death. Right now, the first answer. Nicely, you know. Did you all write the first question already down? No? Okay, we will continue it in the next class. We have to write the question answers. Okay? Okay, check.
That's
Then first question is done. So, the trial was held to from Murala was increased the field and existed was speaking into the house. Okay, it's my friend. Fire. But I'm so much of this studying the last week. That's very fun. And then we will also invest. Take it out. Or. Okay. dog named Duke. Okay. What? That's it.
You can say right.
Yeah, because I- About the author, read about the author's first.
About God, William Dale Yes, was born in Concord on March 26,
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. We are writing at the age of 12 on the by an elementary school teacher who based on his talent pattern from Alice study of the history of Tokyo provided it that he eventually used as a foundation for a theology of numbers, bounty lands, geometry there, bounty lands survey, and a group story. Each of these levels appeared on bestseller lists. And the theology itself eventually accomplished author a Pulitzer Prize on this. The most important academic release was is the time of the story.
What is a trilogy? Three means three. Okay, it is a combination of three stories. Three different stories. Okay. Three different stories combined together under one heading. Okay, okay, that is known as a trilogy. Okay. Now, let us begin. Before we begin, a dog named Duke. Can you tell me a few qualities of a dog? Tell me a few qualities about a dog. Yeah.
It's very loyal to its
Yes, loyalty, right?
understanding.
Okay, so we'll just write down loyalty is loyal, understanding. And have you seen dogs, you know, the pets? How do they understand? Yes, they're very loving, right? They are extremely caring towards their masters. They can do anything for their masters. They are extremely loyal. You know, there's a difference between keeping cat as a pet and keeping dog as a pet. Dogs are very loyal. When it is compared to cats, cats are not at all loyal. They are very selfish. Okay, as long as their need is sufficed, not every cat, I would not say. I mean, majority, you know, that is their habit, right? That is their natural thing. But the dog, any species or any breed of dog, they are extremely loyal to their masters. And that is why as loyal as a dog. You know, there is a simile which we say as loyal as a dog. Now here we see a dog named Duke. So the name of the dog is Duke. Right? So it is a very touchy story, very overwhelming to see how the dog named Duke always stands beside his master. And also the you know the mistress of the house. But here the story says, you know, the master had undergone an accident, right? The master undergoes an accident, and after that, he leads a very paralyzed life. And then gradually, how the dog, Duke, tries to cure him, understanding everything that he is going through, he tries to cure him and he cures him also. But unfortunately, the dog itself meets with an accident and dies. Okay, it's a very sad, tragic story, but it's extremely emotional and overwhelming story. Okay, so let us begin. We will go a little slowly. We need to, because it is, we need to, read it line by line. And we need to solve the question answers also, which are there at the back. Okay? Now, read, start reading. About the, read, about the dog due.
You was a rough name government principal, 4-year-old, 23 years. His court was fed with corn. Chuck home, who was had out that was for the life because life was not clearly
Not what?
was not clearly at all. He was a tiny permanent comedian was her idea of the right size dog for the Colonial house in a small.
Comedians are very small.
This Duke needed okay.
So this Duke is a dog, what type of dog? Very huge dog. What is the species? What's the name? The breed? Doberman. Right? Doberman. So Doberman, Doberman usually are very ferocious dogs, but ferocious in the sense, ferocious to the outsiders. But they are extremely friendly to their masters. Very, very friendly. I forgot to write this. Friendly is also another word.
Friendly in context
Friendly to the masters, very caring, friendly to their masters. I have even seen dogs carrying the packets of milk also from the door. Once the door will ring, if you keep milk packets, they will really be trained to pick up the packet. They can be trained. Yes. Have you seen?
They are good learners.
They are good learners. They're very, very good learners. Have you seen in Olympics? The dogs Olympics also are a part of one of the events where the dogs swim. They dive, they swim, they show their skills and riding. They are extremely good learners. So their trainers come to train them with the ball, different tricks with the ball. If you see in the circus, the dog show happen along. No, but nowadays lions and tigers are not allowed. Elephants are not allowed, so the dogs show happen nowadays in the circus. Okay, continue. So underline Doberman,
Chuck presented new
underline Doberman, sit with the pencil. He was a Doberman, what was his age? 4 years. What was his, what was his age? 26 years.
Chuck visited him at the cabin several times before he made up his mind. After about 3 months, he decided he has to have the big two stepping for Chuck versus Rambox.
Rambunctious. So Duke's appeal for Chuck was his rambunctious. What is the meaning of the word rambunctious? Let me check here quick and check in. Is the meaning given? Okay, tell me the word. Rambunctious. Yes. RAM.
Rambunctious and rambunctious both mean the same.
Tell me
It means this is to express a tendency to show violence and violent behaviors trigger often person.
Okay, this is to express a tendency to show violent and mild behavior of the causing damage. Okay. So, the view suffering for Chuck was his rambunctious. It took a long time before Marcy was more than polite to go. When the meaning is given, let us, write down the meanings here. There is in page number 14. Page number 14. See? Okay, now let us write down the meanings. First one is the sentence. Okay. Yes. No, rambunctious means uncontrollably boisterous or exuberant. Exuberant. So rambunctious means really boisterous, uncontrollably boisterous. The state which one is more to stay in the let's follow the other ones. Subdural hemorrhage. There is no number, the second one, subdural hemorrhage. It's a brain medical condition. Right? I will. Number I, right? I over here. Then it will be moving to one person. Long. Yes, golden. Where is it? Yes. For a person that if he or she has a pale gold colored hair, blonde hair. So number C, blonde is number C. Got it? And then what is given? Green. Green means minor. There is it? Yeah, this is used for smile. Number B. Number B. Green means B. Rewriting means taking. Rewriting means taking.
A medical, this is a medical condition called.
No. This is the other word for trembling. See?
A.
A. Rewriting means trembling. Now let us come to talk.
Thought is a condition the low called states type.
Yes. So yes, talk. This is the condition when the low coordination strength type is. Next is critical condition.
We see it for a condition which is serious and severity.
B. Critical condition. Right. Next
We is allowed with.
yes, right. Let me see. So we need
Rampage yes, means like
Shibid means move effortlessly. Huh? Shibid means move effortlessly.
So as you see it,
Yes, correct. Yes, Shibid is move and dance effortlessly or move effortlessly. Is it? Yeah, this is related to dancing or moving in a way that involves shaking your hips and shoulders. Right, so that is shimmy. Bellow is, pumping air. Bellowing. Air. In iron mills, bellows are, bellowing happens so that the furnace keeps blowing. To provide oxygen. That is bellow.
word is in a state in which like one is more efficient.
No, that's confinement. Confinement is that. See, do the confinement first, number eight. Now we are left with which two?
that is about to next and continues.
It's now to start to start with that.
That is, yes. Tell me the word. This is final outcome.
What is the meaning? Value.
This is to express a tendency to survive the time. And consequence.
Tell me the word. The first
I think value means,
This is to express
yes, rambunctious and rampageous, both are synonyms. Value.
rampageous means also, yes, boisterously violent, uncontrollable, is both in the same class.
Definitely, F, rampageous would be,
Rampageous would be F, okay, it's to express a tendency to show violent and violent behavior and causing damage. Below will be which one?
D,
What will it be? Okay, yes, that is also, yes, correct. High energy and noise, right, below, let me take below points. Below is usually bellowing before. Yes, high energy noise, loud roar, that is also below. Correct. Right now, you, what did you know? You can already done. Which one, F? The tendency to violence, yes, correct. Actually, rampageous and rambunctious almost mean the same violent behavior. So they both has too much of energy, violent behavior, causing damage, both mean almost the same. Okay, so you can keep either of the two. So now you continue reading. Continue reading.
In 1953, Mumbai was a favored year. A big general day splash is highly competitive. Standing 6 foot, would play on the university football. Was already a hard charging game, still not there. The chemical, everything was going. When he was driving home one autumn twilight, cars were out in front of him. Cooper was second to the submural average the motor section of the vehicle, completely paralyzing his legs. One of Chuck's issued message told Mercy to factory. Mercy is went to the hospital. Her husband couldn't talk. He could only breathe and sing. In his visible fear, Mercy pulled the lever, asking me to put Duke in a cannon. Cooper went on the critical list for a month. After the weeks down, man from his company came to the brand told Cooper to take a year off. They would trade a death stop for him and dead.
Now tell me, you will underline your answers. First question. What was the personality of Cooper?
Hardworking,
Okay, underline the words. Yeah, we need it for the character of Cooper. So he was hardworking.
favored young man,
Sorry,
favored young man,
favored young man. What does it mean?
that defines his character, right? And his qualities.
Favored young man,
Highly competitive,
highly competitive.
had a genuine brain, on his face.
Sorry?
He had a genuine grin on his face.
Genuine grin. That means always a smile on his face, right? Genuine grin on his face. What does it state about his personality when you always have a grin on your face? Even if you are not happy, I mean, even if you are going through some rough patch of your life, or you are trying to solve a matter, even then if you have a smile on your face, that means he is happy and contented in his life, right? He knows how to solve his problem, satisfied. He is satisfied, he is contented, he is happy in his life. Always a grin on his face, right? Never saw any problem as a problem. He knew how to solve it. Correct? Okay, please write these down. These are all very important to solve the character questions. So hardworking.
Stall.
Acha. Now physical description, he was tall.
Wholesale manager.
He was a zonal sales manager. So it will come under the work, right? Hardworking zonal sales manager. Sorry,
It's a dog lover.
he was not initially a dog lover, later on he became, right?
No, Marcy became afterwards.
Acha, Masi became after. So he was a dog lover, right? Okay. He was a dog lover. What else? So he was hardworking. Now, what do you mean by favored young man?
But
You were very smart.
Favored by his luck as well as he was favored by others. People around him. Fine. Physical description, quality, the personality of the man, right? So he was so energetic. He always had a grin on his face, happy and contented with his life. Dog lover.
Football.
Huh?
Football player.
He was a football player also. Right now, football player. Done. This is for dogs.
Um, the 6 weeks after the accident, the hospital put him in a wheelchair. Every day, there was someone lucky his paralyzed.
Okay, sorry. Again, we have already completed the accident, right? Now, what was the change that was brought about? Quickly write down the points. What are the changes that was brought about in this yes, energetic, hardworking, competitive, highly competitive, and favored man? Suddenly after the accident, how did he become? That's a very important question. The difference, the change, the transformation in the character.
First promotions.
Yes. Yes. What is the first point?
Left side was paralyzed.
Yes, paralyzed. Left side was paralyzed, right? So what happened due to the subdural hemorrhage? What happened? This area, subdural hemorrhage, what happens? This area is affected and the motor skills of the person is affected. Motor skills means movement. Motor means movement, right? The motor skills are affected. Okay, the movement is affected because of that. The left side of its in was paralyzed. Okay, in the brain there are different sides. There's a language side, there's a motor side. Brain controls every part of the body, everything in the body. So, and every part of the brain controls different things. Okay, so if average happens here, then the motor skills. Then some other parts, some other skills are affected. Not everything is affected. Right? And then if the brain is down completely, then only when the person dies or it goes into coma, not able to function as a what is the next condition? The paralyzed.
What does she was naming?
Yes. There was no brain on his face at all. This was a major change that happened with him. Even when we see when Duke was with him, then also there was no brain on his face. So there was such a huge change, right? A big transition in his life.
But he was very ambitious and after, paralyzed.
Yes, we can call it he was ambitious. We can add this point also. He was very ambitious. It is not given in the textbook, but you can definitely write your own. He was ambitious. Okay.
They said what to be of
Ambitious means when you want to reach higher, right? When you want to achieve more. We can call everything call it ambitious. Someone who is hard
But for
success, yes. Someone for success is not always fixed in a positive way, but yes. You want to improve on yourself every day. You want to improve on yourself every day. That is ambitious. And ambitious, being ambitious is very good. Everybody should be ambitious about it. So everybody should be a better version of himself. What else? What else happened with him?
he couldn't talk and he could only see and
He could not talk because he has lost his motor skills. He could not even talk and he could only see. And he could not say anything. Mary was extremely upset. No, sorry, not Mary. What is his wife's name? Marcy. Marcy was extremely upset and he called her neighbor and asked the dog to be in the kennel. Right?
Susan was also there.
Yes. Why do you think so? Buses were also covered, right? Why do you think she or asked or requested to be in the kennel?
So if you go alone at home, please master this.
Yes, so Duke was alone at home, correct? So that was the reason why it was asked to be in the kennel. Understand? So did we complete everything here?
About the same thing.
One more
He
thing.
became more calmer and physical more focused.
Okay, now he became calmer. We cannot say more calmer because more calm means calm. Right? So spell out more. Yes, he was no more obnoxious, right? So he was no more, he would kind of not get angry.
Could no longer work as a literacy.
Yes. So that was the thing where he could not go for work. That was a major thing that happened. And what else?
And he also could not make it.
Yes, and he also could not fit. Also, whatever he did, he could not do all this. Right? That's it.
About 6 weeks after the accident.
6 weeks, so which means 1.5 months.
The hospital put him in a wheelchair. Every day there was someone working paralyzed. And then for the parts, SSNs, and speaking to chair for video. However, video. However, Chuck didn't waste much time. In March, they left him out of the after the second of homecoming board of Chuck hit a new
Chuck?
Chuck hit a new as a hospital there has been other than the people, but now each morning when Marcy quietly went to work, it was like a gate slamming. Was still in the car, and Chuck was thrown with the straw.
Okay, stop there. Okay, so Chuck was released, about to be released, right, from the hospital. So in the hospital also he was treated well. He got a wheelchair and then exercises were also done so that the paralyzed part of his body can get some movement, right? So, the physiotherapy exercises are done. We will not use the word physiotherapy here in this conference here. But usually what happens, paralyzed, when someone is paralyzed, some exercises are done here. Recover, which enables quick recovery. Yes, so that the blood flows and the sensation comes back. Okay. Continue. You now, Anika, continue.
Finally, they decided to raise
In a low pace. Not low voice, just slow pace.
Chuck said he wanted to be standing when you came. So they stood him up. Duke's nails were long from 4 months confinement, and when he spied Chuck, he should quivering like 5,000 volts. Then he let out a balloon, spun his long nailed beads, and launched himself across the 3 meters of it. He was a 23-kilometer side of journey. He hit Chuck above the belly, causing him to fight to keep his balance. Lolo saw it, said the dog knew instantly. He never jumped on Chuck again. From that moment, he took up a post beside his master's bed down the floor. But even Duke's presence didn't reach him. The once iron muscles slackened from the rangy tree. Secretly, Marcy
Okay,
tried
underline this part. What do you read just now? The sentence or the changing frame? Flat changing.
the once iron muscle.
Okay, iron muscle means his hard muscular body, right? He had, so that slackened on, what is the meaning of slackened? Loosen up, right? Slacken means loosening up. So the heart muscles now it has loosened up. On his rangy frame. What does it mean? Rangy frame means tall, slender frame. Frame means over here the bones, right? The framework of the body is the skeleton of the body, right? So there was there was hard iron muscle that was there on the rangy frame, that tall, slender body. But now that iron muscle has flapped. That means it is loosened up. Now he's not getting the exercise. So when he was brought home, Duke was extremely excited. Duke was taken out from the kennel. After 4 months of confinement in the kennel, his master was very, very happy to see his master. So he takes a big dive and tries to this up work, but he tries to maintain the balance. He battles to maintain the balance, and then Others said that the dog understood the condition of. So after that, he never did that to people because he understood that his master is not. He is injured, he is not in a condition to take his 23 kg weight on his body. He understood that, and from there, henceforth, he never did it. The others, right? And you can understand how how much of emotions, how much of feelings you have towards his master. Continue.
Secretly, Marcy cried as she watched the big incident fade away. Severe face lines set in the ceiling as Chuck stared at the ceiling for hours, then out of the window, then at you. Window windows stare at each other day in, day out, and one can't move and the other can't talk. Boredom sets in. You finally couldn't take it. From a motionless boy on the floor, he'd spring to his feet, quivering with impatience. Yarn, lie down, you. You stopped to the bed, poked his pointed nose under Chuck's elbow, and lifted. He nudged and wriggled and snorted.
Okay, snorted means what is the meaning of snorted? Snatched means, trying to take the, the smell. And what is the meaning of snorted?
The sound.
The sound that when you make a sound from the nose, when you breathe out. That is snorted. Okay, so the Duke snorted, smashed. So what happened with it? If you see how sensitive the Duke is, the dog is, right? We can write the word sensitive also. Right? The dog was extremely sensitive towards his master, right? We can use the word sensitive also. Add the word sensitive. The grammatical so the Duke was sensitive. Being was sensitive. Then what happened? He was so he understood, and since then he never leaped onto him. Then they passed nights. You just lay beside him, not moving. So the one cannot move, the other one cannot talk. So you cannot talk, and Hooper cannot move. Therefore, the night of boredom set in. Right? So it became a little boring. And then it has boredom means boring. Okay, boredom sets in, means boring. Boring is the adjective, boredom is the abstract noun. Okay, boring, boredom. Boring life, the life filled with boredom. Okay. Right. Next. Continue.
Go run around the house, Duke. But Duke wouldn't. He died out with a reproachful eye on Cooper.
What is meaning of reproachful eye? And he doesn't yes. Huh? Criticizing, yes. So he does not want to do it. He reproachfully he looks at Cooper. He doesn't want to move away from Cooper at all. Okay.
An hour later, would come over the bed again and yap and talk. He wouldn't leave, but just sit there. One evening, Chuck's good hand idly put the leash onto Duke's collar to pull it still. It was like lightning a fuse. Duke shimmied himself, U-shaped in anticipation. Even Hooper can't explain this next move. He asked Marcy to help him to his feet. Duke pranced. Chuck fought for balance. With his good hand, he placed a leash in his left and folded the paralyzed fingers over it, holding them there. Then he leaned forward. With Marcy supporting him by the elbow, he moved his right leg out in front, straightening his right leg caused the left foot to drag forward. Alongside the right, it could be called a step. Duke felt a sudden slap in the leash and pulled it taut. Chuck sprayed forward again, broke the fall with his good right leg, then straightened. Thrice he did that, then collapsed into the wheelchair exhaustion.
Okay, so what happened? So gradually, because of this movement, I mean, because of this sudden change, what exactly happened? What did the dog do? What did the dog do to the Hooper? One day, when Hooper laid his hand on the leaf, you know, we all know that since the dog, since animals they cannot talk, therefore this leaf movement on the leaf is an indication to move, right? So the moment he held his hand on the leash, then what happened?
He moved down the leash.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And then when it started sliding, then what did he do? And then it got him forward. So first the Duke, first Hooper put his right leg and then grabbed the left leg. So the first movement took place after so many months, and it was because of Duke. Okay? And Duke saw to it, along with Marcy, they both saw to it that he didn't make that movement. Right? That's it.
Next day, the big boss started rolling. He starts around to Cooper's good side, jabbed his nose under the elbow, and snapped his head. The big man's good arm reached for the leash. When Cooper was standing, the dog walked to the end of the leash and touched steady. 4 so-called steps they took that day.
So how many steps did they take that day? 4 steps.
Leaning back against the bull, Cooper learned to keep his balance without Marcy at his elbow.
Okay, so initially Marcy was helping, so Marcy was holding the elbow and he was able to maintain the balance. But now, without Marcy's balance, also Marcy's help also he maintained the balance.
Wednesday, he and Drew took 5 steps. Thursday, 6 steps. Friday, failure, 2 steps followed by exhaustion. But in 2 weeks, they reached the front porch. By mid-April, neighbors saw a daily struggle in front of Marcy's house. Out on the sidewalk, they saw the dog with his leash taut, then stand and wait. The man would drag himself
So taut, right? Tightly.
The man would drag himself abreast of the dog. Then the dog would surge out to the end of the leash and wait again. The pair set daily goals. Monday, the 6th fence post. Tuesday, the 7th fence post. Wednesday. When Marcy saw that Duke would want her husband, she told the doctor who prescribed a course of physiotherapy with weights, pulleys, and whirlpool baths, and above all, walking every day with you on a limited gradual scale. By now, neighbors on the street were watching the pattern of progress. On June 1st, news spread that Hooper and Duke had headed to an intersection quite far away. Soon, Duke began campaigning for 2 trips a day, and they lengthened the targets, one drive away at a time. Duke no longer waited at each step. On January 4th, Cooper made his big move. Without Duke, he walked 200 meters from the clinic, the local branch office of his company. This had been one of the district offices under his jurisdiction as zone manager. The staff was amazed by the visit, but to Gordon Duke, the manager, Chuck said, Gordon, this isn't just a visit. Bring me up to date on what's happened. Will you so I get work? You gas. You get give. It'll just be an hour a day for a while. Cooper continued. I'll use that empty desk in the warehouse and I'll need a dictating machine. Back in the company's headquarters, Chuck's move presented problems, tough ones. When a man fights that hard for a combat, who wants to tell him he can't handle his own job? On the other hand, what can he do? The salesman who can't move around and can work only an hour a day. They didn't know that Cooper had already set his next objective, March 1st, a full day's work.
Okay, stop here. Now let us see the next very, very important question. Write down the question. Comment on the development. Write down the next question. Comment on the development of. Comment on the development of. What is this? Comment on the development of. In terms of health. In terms of health. Okay, write down in point form. What is the development that happened? One, what happened first?
He started to walk a little.
Yes,
He could take a step.
he could take a step. Gradual development, right? It was a gradual development. And this is a very important 6-mark question. Okay, next point. Then gradually it increased to the steps increased. How many steps? Two steps. Yes, 6 steps. Right? It gradually increased to 6 steps. Then after that. The porch. And then they reached the porch. Right.
He could reach.
The porch. Porch. Okay. After that, what happened?
And
They start. What is the courtyard kind of?
It's close.
And then after that, what happened?
French post of
Yes, just see and tell me. The next is French post. So the gradual development, you have to be very careful. You need to write in the sequence. That order. Right? So what next? French post. Write down. French post. Correct?
French post.
Acha, French. Where is it?
20 last time.
Acha, 6th fence post. Okay, I read fence post. Okay. Out of the sidewalk, they saw the dog pull his leash short and stand to wait. The man would drag himself abreast of the dog, then the dog would surge to the end of the leash and wait again. The pair set daily goals. Okay, so they went till the on Tuesday they went till the 7th fence post. So gradually till the 7th fence post, right? Gradually till the 7th fence post. So you understood how you was helping Cooper. So what he did? What did the you do? What did the dog do? What did you? He was holding tightly the leash and he was taking it as a support.
Was he holding
The leash taut, right? So tightly, he was taking it as a support, right? When he would move a little, then again he would go to the last slant of the leash, slacking it so that and then he would again move a little more forward. So like this, they would take steps, taking the leash as support, right? And also Marcy helping him initially, but later on he could move without Marcy's help as well. Okay, after this, what happened? The
Driver
second
goes to each house and the driver.
He could walk for 200 meters without getting.
Yes, he could walk 100 meters without. So these were all with help. When did he start walking without Marcy's help? Just check. That is also important. Marcy was helping with the elbow. Right? Holding the elbow.
When he took 5 steps.
That you have to write. That also you have to write. Usually Marcy was helping
But his left side was still paralyzed. Right?
Left side was still paralyzed. Uh, so gradual walking, that actually gets cured. That is why towards the end, Marcy calls for physiotherapy. You know, the exercises, massaging, this improves the movement of the muscles. Movement paralysis means it is a problem with the muscle. That is why the muscles lose it and the sensation. With physiotherapy, you regain the power of the muscle. Okay. And then, you know, there is also the physiotherapists, they also do, you know, put hot wax. At times, they also put hot wax in order to bring back the sensation. Very hot wax. Paralyzed means what? You are not able to feel anything. You don't have anything.
Not able to move it.
You are not able to move it because you are not able to feel anything. Or you cannot move it. Okay,
So
so
we practice, we understand
yes,
that.
so with that help, gradually hold and then gradually pick up, get back its senses and it gets back the, you know, the blood circulation is happens and gradually the sensations comes back. Okay, so it is all about the movement is all about the muscles of the bones. So it basically it affects the muscles. Okay, continue and then did we finish everything? No, na? Okay, then continue. What is the next step?
He could reach his office.
Before the
Right away. He went to the driveway, the intersection.
Okay, so he went to the driveway intersection. What is given? Intersection means the crossing.
It an intersection quite far away. Very second class.
By now, the neighbors of the street were watching the pattern of progress on June first, who spread the section quite far away. Yes. Then they went to the intersection. Intersection means the crossing. Okay, so they, yes, correct. So they went to the intersection, right? Intersection. After that, what happened?
Driveway was.
Okay, so after intersection. Okay, now they started two trips in a day.
Yes.
Intersection, only the intersection is the problem. Okay, so then they started two trips in a day. Earlier it was only once. Now they have started two trips in a day. Okay, and they landed the targets. Write down and they landed the targets. They increased their targets.
It is also report afterwards.
Then afterwards,
After that, it was
then without Duke. So without Marcy, we saw before, now without Duke, he started working at what funding? That was the gradual progress. Right, where is funding? Okay, then what happened?
And could reach his
And yes, and then he could leave this land. And he also had some plans. Right, what was his plans? He already had this.
He would start working from March.
Yes, he would start working from
first
March,
March, he would work for years.
and that was a suggestion given by someone approached him and told him, yes. And told him,
Gordon who? Gordon who is the manager.
yes,
He started working 1 hour.
yes, but he had in his mind to work the full day. Right? Okay, now let us see what happens.
Chuck hit the target, and after March 1st, there was no time for this. The physiotherapy program. He turned completely confused. We pulled him along the street faster and faster, increasing his stability and endurance. Sometimes walking after dark, Cooper would trip and fall. He would stand still as a post, while his master
Why is this part so vague? I thought that nothing is written on the list. Let us take it completely. Yours is completely photocopy. You got this from the shop?
Yes.
That is the photocopy because the. It is better than yours. At least some. It's clear. Okay.
Sometimes walking after dark, Uber would trip and fall. Duke would stand still as a ghost while his master struggled to get up.
Okay, what figure of speech has been used here? Yes, analyze it right now. Second, you will I stand as this as a lives. Right, so as or like, when we compare a common quality with the help of as or like.
It was as though the dog knew that his job was to get Chuck back on his feet. 13 months from the moment he worked full days, Chuck Hooper was promoted to the regional manager covering more than 4 states.
Chuck, so the change again, fights back, he fought back. And he again begins his post as the,
Zonal skills division.
yes. Okay, continue.
Chuck, Marcy, and Luke moved house in March 1956. The people in the new suburb where the Coopers bought a house didn't know the story of Chuck and Luke. All they knew was that new neighbors walked like a struggling mechanical giant, and that he was always pulled by a rampageous dog that acted as if he owned them.
On rampages basically is a lot energetic, right, and very energetic. Okay, now let us just see, sorry. Let us see if what which sentence did we mark for rampages. This one word. Yes. Okay, let's see. In the next class, now we will go through this once again. Okay. Yes.
On the evening of October 12, 1957, the Hoopers had guests. Suddenly,
Now, this is the climax of the story. Okay, so people had some guests at his house. Let's see what happens.
suddenly, over the babble of voices, Chuck heard the screech of brakes outside. Instinctively, he looked for you. They carried the big dog into the house. Marcy took one look at Duke's face, at his brown eyes with a stubbornness gone. On the way, she said, tell him I'm bringing you. Several people jumped to lift the dog. No, please, she said. And she picked up the big dog, carried him gently into the car, and drove him to the animal hospital. Duke was drunk and he waited until 11 o'clock the next morning when his injuries were severe. People who knew the distance Chuck and Duke had come together one fence post at a time. Now watched the big men walk alone day after day. They wondered how long will he keep it up? How far will he go today? Can he do it alone? A few weeks ago, Gordon, as if in special tribute to Duke, an order came through from the chemical company's headquarters. Therefore, to advance the objectives step by step, Charles Cooper is appointed the Assistant National Sales Manager.
So what happens in the end? Yes, what happens in the end?
Became the Assistant National Sales
Yes,
Manager.
but what happened to the Duke?
Yeah.
He dies, right? So it's a very emotional story, but now he has to live on his own, right? So he has to, earlier when he was sick, when he was not healthy, it was Duke who has supported him. So can he come back to his position all alone? And he did, right? Without Duke's help, but Duke is gone, right? Now in the next class, we will go to the meanings once again, okay? And we will write the question answers. Now, one question, write down that question. Now, you must be knowing in communicative English, the last 8 mark question.
8 more.
Eight.
This more.
Max quiz.
No, 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 I'm talking about 10th standard.
If you are opinion on.
Yes, in the 80 mark paper, okay, 80 mark paper, the last question is 8 marks. What is it? In 10th I'm talking about.
If you are opinion on some values, depending on the chapter.
Questions, yes, this is what I was talking about. In the next class, since we're already done, in the next class, we will first write down the value-based question. Okay,
Some examiners read the value based question first to like
Yes.
just the capability.
Right, so we will
But my
first
exam
write
is on Friday.
Huh?
My exam is this chapter.
on this chapter, it's on Friday. Okay. Only this chapter.
How I thought we have the group and the
Okay, so then, are we meeting next Monday then? Coming Monday? You're coming, right? Okay. Next Monday, you have exam.
Yeah,
What about you?
On average from this.
Hmm?
Average from this.
Maybe I will come. Maybe you will not come.
Maybe I will come.
Okay, take care. Yes. So there are very good, value-based questions from this chapter.
so where can I find it or find the question?
So the value-based question exists, yes, you will find it in the website. See. Well, next time.